is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys from the Shock the World podcast. I'm your host, Harold Easton, here bringing you your number one source for the Houston Cougar Athletics. I'm here with the boys.
South Texas Dub Buster.
More like Chi Buster.
No, definitely the Dub Buster.
I'm
Definitely
kidding.
the Dub Buster.
I'm kidding. And Jamison Widener.
Awesome. Well, cool. So we're coming in, obviously, after an away weekend, which I think is pretty, it's always relaxing. I was talking to somebody earlier about the fact, we love the game day experience. We love getting out there. We love tailgating. But I also love the in the living room, drinking beers, being able to watch everything. Frequently, because we do these podcasts on Sunday, we go in, home game, we're going out, partying, drinking, watching some football, filming.
Well, some of us are responsible adults and go home after the game, for the record.
Well, my point is, during the game, and we get home, and it's hard to totally recap on everything from the bird's eye view. And so what you see from our section is not always, the
it's easier
picture.
from the bird's eye view.
Yes, is what I'm saying. We don't get to see that every time.
Right.
And so it's really nice to be able to watch at home in the comfort of your couch and cold beers.
No long
to watch the
concession
game.
lines.
Well, usually we do watch, when we are at the game, we watch the replays
Of
online,
course.
but I refuse to watch the week before. I'm not even going to mention that team's name.
It's really tough when it's a
Witness
loss.
it one more time.
Yeah.
So ultimately, though, we did get the win. Cougs win 20-13.
That's a road win. I mean, we weren't very good on the road last year, so I'll take a road win.
That is true, but there are a lot of questionables.
I'll take the road win simply because starting another quarterback, his first ever road win, if I believe, as a starter.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
Exactly.
First half, or we'll get into that, I guess, in a minute.
Yeah, definitely.
I can just go on.
We'll go ahead and start with good, the bad, and the ugly. So obviously, the ugly, outside of the TD at the 11-minute, 30-second mark, we blanked for the majority of the second half, which is something that we have seen is a trend, and you and I talked about this, Jamison, throughout this season. I know we started off worried about this as soon as it happened with Arizona.
You could even dip in, and I don't want to bring it up, but you could even go back to the San Diego State game. It's the same story, and I'm taking Rice out of the equation because Rice is so piss poor. We put our second string in, so kind of like so that doesn't really count. But if you take, the collective group of our performances so far in the second half, it's the same story every game.
There's been no trend of change between a terrible team and a really good team. It's all the same thing in the second half thus far.
Yeah, and I mean, mention what you were mentioning earlier about them learning.
I mean, I don't know if it's just our inability to kill teams off. Like, I want to put teams to the sword. And I thought we were going to do that for the first time. Out first drive. Second half, I was like, wow, this is great. We're going to carry that momentum from the first half and go in and kill the game off. And we did it. I don't know if it's we got too conservative. Our play call in the first half looked excellent. We didn't even, Tim and I were like, who is this team?
We're taking shots downfield. We're running outside the tackles.
We were moving the ball effectively. And then second half was just like the woes we had so far this season.
It was almost like two people were calling plays in that game.
It was like two different
completely two different schemes.
That's what it seemed like.
You saw
it wasn't, but it
wasn't. But you basically saw strategy, and I know I put this on Twitter real time during the game. You basically had games 1, 2, and 3 calling the second half of this game, whereas the first half of this game, this looked like a Houston Cougar offense that we're used to seeing. It almost looked like Kyle Postma was just a stiff version of Greg Ward in a lot of ways.
And I don't know if I'm wrong on this, and you can disagree with me if you want to, but I think we got out-coached second half on both sides of the ball completely.
I agree.
We were sweating bullets when we should not have been in the fourth quarter.
We scored 20 straight points, 20 unanswered, and then they scored 13 unanswered.
Yep. Yeah.
We held them to, I believe Major said 8 yards in the first half. If I remember correctly, it was like -8.
Yeah, they had -8.
It was -8
the first half.
And partly due because, when you lose Ed Oliver, not only do you use a playmaker on the field, largely in part, he eats up linemen and allows our linebackers to go
because they're going to double team him.
Exactly.
So
that's, So his ability actually to get tackles and fly around the ball like he does in his pursuit is what makes him the world-class talent that he is.
I mean,
his main job really is to eat up linemen. And we didn't have him anymore. So, of course, you're going to expect them to run the ball effectively more. But they did. And they did it at will. They threw the ball better.
Well, they were able to run, so the run set up the pass and so on and so forth.
Right.
But
they
it's
were
just,
averaging 5.2 yards per carry.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they got, 130 in the second half?
They did really well, which was really sad because it was all on the same play, all on third down, too.
But then you go to offensively for us.
Right.
They have a defensive-minded head coach, and he went in there at halftime. And remember, we threw like 2 screens back to back. One almost got blown up, damn near picked off.
Yeah.
And then the second one, it was just an individual effort from Dunbar to actually get any sort of positive yardage out of it.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it was bad.
Here we go.
We were watching it. Were we in the car still when that happened?
we were
at the hotel
lobby before we went on the hunt.
It was just like, okay, that was a terrible play.
So these guys were traveling this last week. If you didn't catch on for the last time, I was here watching with UniWatch Max.
Yeah.
But they were off traveling, in and out of the car, doing some dove busting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what we were trying to get at is that we saw that first play blowing up, and we're like, okay, well, that was terrible. Let's not do that again. And then we turn right back around and do the exact same thing.
They were ready for it.
Yeah.
They saw us line up in that same, in that formation. They're going to throw the screen to the outside. And then we did it again, back-to-back plays. And I was like, what is...
We're becoming too predictable. There's one thing that's so predictable, but we're like... Literally, they're teeing off on us on the defense. It's going to blow up in our face real bad.
He was the defensive coordinator at Florida last year, so they were a decent defense last year, and that's why he got hired. You don't go and hire a defensive coordinator if you don't think they're going to completely, change the game on your side of the defensive ball. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a really good job. On the offensive side, for the ugly, we'll wrap this up and go to the bad. It's not good when Kyle Postma is your lead rusher for 81 yards. Granted, the boy can run, but I can only see this one many times when I want to see Duke Catalon.
But here's the thing, that number is kind of skewed because he had that one really long run.
He did.
So without that long run, he probably wouldn't have been.
Exactly.
But I think one last part for the ugly for me is when we were driving to the hunt at this point. They had the ball back. And we were able to stop them on defense. They punted the foot. No, actually, they went for it on fourth down.
That's correct.
They got it, and then we were able to hold them. They punted the football. And there was less than 2 minutes left, and all we had to do was to get one first down. And we couldn't do it. We had to get the ball back again with, I believe,
30 seconds.
30-ish seconds.
I think they had 30 seconds left,
to me, that is ugly. To me, that is
definitely
very poor. We were on their side of the field. You had to kill the game off in 3 plays.
Yeah.
And it was the 3 of the most lackluster plays. I mean, you could have called it from a mile away. And I get it. You're going to run the football to keep the clock running. But we just got to be more.
There were too many times that we were on their side of the field and went third and out, which is something that we've seen.
That's just beyond. It's
frustrating.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So with that, we'll jump on to the bad. So couple of things that were less worse, but still not good. Play calling in the second half. One of the things that we were mentioning earlier, we just went straight on back to the second, the good old screens off to the side of the ball, unimaginative. This isn't in our notes, but where's Duke Catalon?
I mean, Catalon is now 4 straight games being vastly ineffective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't. I feel like I can't blame
He did have a really good run.
By the look of things and the way Majors talked, Catalon is now second choice to Burden.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's very obvious.
Yeah.
Burden was getting a majority of the carries. Catalon got more carries when Burden came out and got injured. Catalon did kind of step up though towards the end. When we needed
in the second half, he had a long for 14.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's just very inconsistent. And
it's unfortunate.
Major usually doesn't say those kind of things about his players, but he kind of let that one slip one time.
Yeah.
He's like, we're going with a more consistent back.
Right.
And it's very true. Everyone in the world can see it.
But he said the same thing about Kyle Postma and the fact of how everybody was doing during practice. He said, one of the things I think he's done a really good job about is, he's trying to play down the fact that we have a quarterback controversy and the fact that, he is trying to play the best person, or he's claiming to say he's going to play the best person every single game. But,
he's not even like saying it's a controversy. He's like, every job is open no matter what from week to week,
right?
Depending on how you practice.
And that's how he's dumbing it down, which I think is really good.
Postma threw one really pretty ball. I believe it's to Dunbar.
Was it the touchdown?
No. It was just one out to the sideline. I think for like 20 yards, and the spiral on it was.
Are you talking about the one he threw over the guy that was blitzing?
Yeah. I mean, that was really good. I mean, he threw a good ball. We had another touchdown at the end zone that got taken away by OPIs is another thing.
Yeah. Right.
That's 4 on the year, 2 by Jefferson, both touchdowns.
Yes.
Called off.
Oh, yeah, Jefferson's back.
Yeah, Jefferson's
that's
back,
a plus.
which is
I'm
good.
so happy to see that.
It's very interesting to see, though, that the only 2 real big plays, obviously he's a huge guy, so they're going to try and put him in the end zone, get him to jump over, but both of those are would-be touchdowns that,
might have been touchdowns.
I will tell you this, though, that they said they're going to call OPIs a lot more, but that second one, the one on Corbin, this game,
I think was
the one to Corbin.
Yeah, the one that was stupid. That he did not push. The cornerback sold it.
It was the third play of the game.
Yeah.
He basically was like,
Yeah, that was one that you and I were both kind of like, are you kidding me?
It was stupid.
Basically, he stopped and just kind of let him go by and caught it, and he sold it.
Right.
Back. Yeah. And it was.
And if you all haven't seen the presser, that's one that Major went to, actually sent in to the American Athletic Conference and was like, hey, I want y'all to review this and just tell me how we can coach our guys better so this is not a penalty from here on out.
Right, because, clearly this is starting to become an issue for us. And how do we reduce that?
Mainly it's been with Jefferson and Corbin, though.
Yeah.
Those are the two culprits.
Yeah. Well, what I think, what I wanted to bring up in the bat is, where's Kyle Allen?
That's true. So obviously, Kyle Allen, our starter from the very beginning of the year, has lost the
starting job, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't get it back this week as it was announced today.
Yeah,
that Postman was going to start again,
which is very different. I don't know. Because he's been waiting out until the day of, basically, to announce who the quarterback's going to be.
After now seeing both in this scheme.
This is what we were talking about. Yeah.
You and I had talked about, I guess, on the way home yesterday, and it was a good discussion. We both agree that with all the tangibles, we think Kyle Allen is probably a better quarterback.
Yes.
It would be a more highly sought after quarterback for most teams in the country.
Yeah. Sure.
But for what we have going on right now with offensive line,
lack of running game.
Lack of running game. Postman's ability to run and extend
on screens.
Plays. Yeah. I think he gives us a better chance to win.
Yeah.
In all honesty, due to all the circumstances. So, and he protected the football a lot better. And that he had 1 interception, but that guy made a hell of a catch on the sideline.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an interception was like, wow.
Right.
Nothing that was like, what did you see there?
There was one really questionable throw that I know. Basically,
everyone's going to have those.
Though. Right. It happens.
Right.
So we've just got to sort of figure out, Kyle is Kyle. There's 2 Kyles, so it's hard to refer to them by their first name. But, it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out throughout the rest of the year. One of the things that Major pointed out in the press conference was be ready.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when it's going to go and swap. And I think that we're going to see a lot of that in this season because, unfortunately, we don't learn and change it up in the second half. And I'm afraid that we're going to have a lot of defenses that figure out whoever is starting, and by the second half, it's not working, and now we've got to go in and change it up with a different quarterback.
Right. Well, I mean,
I think
here's the thing. This is the interesting talking point. Postma comes on in 2015, knocks off Memphis.
Yep.
Basically, Postma's second half against Memphis and Tech were very similar.
Yeah.
He just had more time against Memphis.
Right.
And then the next week, he started against UConn. UConn having tape now on Postma, UConn was able to pretty much shut him down effectively.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that Applewhite said. We didn't release anything about the quarterback. We didn't tell him to that morning because we didn't want to give a heads up on the opposition, giving us time to implement any new scheme into defending Postma. So now we're going to see SMU having now seen a full game of tape on Postma and what they'd known from 2015.
Yeah.
How it's going to be interesting because he's really never been in a game
where he starts the show,
except for UConn,
where
really,
you set the pace.
Where he's now what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really most excited to. I wouldn't say excited, but intrigued to watch this weekend.
We're lucky that it's a home game. with that, we'll go ahead and I guess jump on to the few good things that did.
Yeah, we have to have some good. It's still a win.
First half was full.
First half was great. Yeah. Honestly,
it was great.
Honestly, I thought we were going to score 50
really
on
for a better.
I thought we were going to score 50 on them.
You could have. Your Kugboog was almost true because we held him to -8 rushing yards in the first half,
and I thought we were going to get it. And then when Ed went out, and the second half rolled around, and I was like,
"Well,"
which was awful. We didn't even mention that. That chop block was. Painful looking.
Speaking
it looked
of
very deliberate.
So MCL sprain, he's day to day. He may be able to play this weekend. They don't know what kind of grade it is. Just kind of see. Luckily, it's nothing more than that.
I'll tell you what.
He'll be back.
If he was jumping up and down on the sidelines having fun in the second half, I think it's precautionary, and I think this is a mind game that they're playing. Yeah. I think they're going to maybe rest him this week and put a brace on it on Saturday and say, go rip someone's head off.
I absolutely agree. And then I also agree with a point that you made, I believe, I don't know if it was after Arizona or Rice, you're like, I think we're going to rely a lot on Ed Oliver this year.
Yeah.
And that became very evident the second half.
Now,
it's an offense that is not very good by Temple.
Now, Emil Fleming did look pretty good in his place. I mean, not very. Let me say
Isaiah Wright.
He made some good plays, but he wasn't like poor, but he wasn't what Ed does with our defense.
Well, yeah, Ed Oliver is once in a blue moon, a generation, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But I think he'll be fine.
But they hit us with a dual attack in the second half. We weren't able to shut down the running game. When that happens, our secondary is,
You saw our killer instinct kind of go by the wayside. We were up 20-0, 20-3.
I think so too.
So I think it was kind of in cruise control at that point, and one or two things broke their way.
That's one of the things that we can't do.
That's one of the things I hate about the current state.
Because all it takes in this game, literally, you could be playing fine and have a fumble, and they score. And then you get the ball back and they get an interception. The whole momentum just completely swung the other way.
Correct.
I agree. I mean, I also want to say Garrett Davis, didn't he have another pick? And then almost had two.
He almost had two.
That's right.
He had one. They called it pass interference. And then he had another one, the same drive that he dropped, like right in his chest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen.
As of today,
Isaiah Johnson had a good
Isaiah
one.
Johnson's really growing into himself.
Yes.
I'm glad that we have him for another year. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he plays with us his senior year, having a full year underneath his belt at the position. This guy's only played this position for a couple months.
He's got a ton of speed too.
Yeah. He's so fast. he's so fast.
It's very impressive. So other good things, created 3 turnovers on what we were just mentioning. And with Garrett Davis, I think as of today, on the team, ready to go out next year, is the most likely to be drafted on the team.
Yeah, because he's a junior, right?
He's a senior.
Garrett Davis is a junior, fool. We've discussed this.
I'm still tripping.
It's okay.
I'm still tripping.
All good. It's all good.
Cool. So overall, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into our dudes of the day.
Let's do it.
For offense, they went ahead and gave it to the boy De'Aaron King, but we gave it to De'Aaron King last week.
Right.
So we were going to switch it up a little bit. And who do you guys have for this week?
There was much debate about this.
There was. But I think when you really think about it, at the end of the day, it was very simple. It's Kyle Postma. Kid comes in, first true start, and it's on the road, and he's replacing someone. Mm-hmm. So all the pressure in the world is on him, and he comes out and gets us a W.
Yeah,
that's all he did is come out and get us a W.
And
it wasn't the road win too.
Yeah,
yeah. And it's one more tidbit on Major's thing. I thought he did say Allen is handling the situation very well, which is good to hear because we don't want a dramatic guy that got pulled and then goes to social media and starts, acting all crazy like other teams got in the past. Then I thought it was interesting too, and I know he did it for their own psyche and then also, like we said, schemes from other teams. If I was in his position, and I got told at breakfast the morning of game day, hey, by the way, you got the ball today. You're going out there.
I'd be on all fours in the bathroom.
Probably go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
I mean, in high school, a lot of our quarterbacks threw up 4 games. They were so nervous anyways.
I believe that.
And I know he's a quarterback, so he'd know, but I'd at least like to know like a couple days in advance.
I hear you.
No. By the way, put your game face on because you're starting.
Yeah. Instead of like that morning of like he made it like what is like briefs a little bit.
You never know.
Yeah.
I hope not. That'd be pretty gnarly. So on the defense, I think another guy. To what you were mentioning, my honorable mention for offense was going to be Dunbar. I think he had some really clutch catches.
Just had to get that in there.
had to throw it in there.
I was rooting for it hard, but honorable mention. So we'll go back to defense.
Yeah, and mine was Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what?
I'm kidding.
God, you get me every episode. It's okay. I will say, defense, I think we were all a little bit up in the air, but came to the decision with the boy DeJuan Hines, who absolutely murdered it. He and Matt Adams were tied for total tackles, but
Matt Adams had a monstrous hit too.
Dude,
he laid out that running back.
He's going to.
Dunbar got hit really hard too by one of those Temple
Dunbar
guys. Got
suplex.
flipped.
Oh yeah, he got suplexed.
Wrestling style.
Yeah.
Pretty
gnarly.
nasty.
Yeah.
But we can't give it to Matt Adams for being an absolute monster every single game. But DeJuan Hines totaled up 9 tackles with him. 7 of them were solo, and he had a tackle for loss. I think they give it to Terrell Williams for the team.
They did.
So kudos to him, but, just trying to switch it up a little bit. Give it to some guy who really stood up this week. And then for special teams, who did we have again?
Didn't you pick this one?
No, I didn't.
Positive you picked this one.
I did not.
Well, it's not Novikov.
Yeah, that kickoff was.
But he
no
has proven that he
Apparently
can.
that had tryout today for kicker. I don't know if that was just major venting for the first time probably ever.
Yeah.
Or what, but
I mean,
we said Cameron.
he did get both.
yeah, that's what we went with.
He did score both of them.
Yeah.
What?
He did score both kicks, so he has a better record of actually making the field goal.
Okay, that's
but the other game he went 500.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. So we're gonna go with Cameron Dubenmeyer because that's who the team gave it to.
Can we talk about okay? This is Temple. How bad Temple is in a nutshell, and I won't spend time on this.
Sure.
Temple got the ball at the 50-yard line to start the game because of the kickoff out of bounds and then the personal
the
foul.
opening drive.
The 50-yard line.
They
go down. They got first and goal inside the 10, and then have to punt.
Yeah.
Punt.
That's how bad Temple is.
Punted on 4th down and 38 or something like that.
Yes, because a quarterback took a sack.
Don't hate. There was back in the day, U of H had a 4th and 50.
Oh my
He had a 4th and 50 at one point.
But that was the first 4th and goal
of the game.
That was nasty.
Well, because we're sitting there oh god.
4th and goal, and they were
punting the football.
Yeah, it was real bad.
I haven't seen that in a long, if ever.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So
hats off to the dudes of the day.
Yes, indeed.
Yep, good job, boys.
Good job to the Cougs for going in and winning this game. There's a lot of questionables, a lot of things we're not super happy about, a lot of worries for the next game, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. So remember to make sure to go ahead and check that out whenever we post it, probably the day after you see this video. So next, we're going to go ahead and jump into the American Athletic Conference games.
Around the American in 600 seconds. That's what I like to call it now. That's
Pretty
what I like
much.
to call it.
So we'll go ahead and start off, I guess, with the USF ECU game. So number 21 ranked USF, 61 over ECU, but you wouldn't have thought that would have been the.
It was close.
The
Score.
It was close in the beginning.
The first half was very close.
USF
Pirates had some life.
They did.
A lot of life.
I think they're working on some Regenikine or something on their legs, but
Regenikine, what is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that an Alphalete thing?
It's stem cells.
Don't even give that.
Anyway, but it was still pretty obvious that USF had a couple of really long drives on some nasty plays, and this was not surprising that they won this game at all.
No, just goes to show what second half adjustments can do for a team.
Yep.
Must be nice.
There you go. So next we'll go ahead and jump on to Tulsa Navy, which was actually a really good game. I watched a good chunk of this game.
Yeah.
And it was going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Tim said, they're going to live and die by the boy Chad President, and Navy looked like they were in trouble for a while, and there was actually a Navy alumni at the table at King's Beer House where we were at on Saturday.
Plug.
I'm just going to give the fans a picture of where I might watch games.
Could just say an ice house.
Okay.
And a tasty beverage.
A place.
And college football is on.
Whatever.
I heard your girlfriend had a bigger beer than you did, though.
I did hear that, too.
What?
I heard it was a rather large beer.
I did have a large beer.
No. I heard your beer was not so large, and hers was
They're
much
the
larger than
exact
yours.
same size.
It's not what I heard.
Can you prove it? Prove it.
I'll send you a picture.
I'm kidding.
Okay. As long as you have a picture. That's all we ask.
Anyway, Navy looks good, but they showed a couple of flaws. I mean, Tulsa's still a good team, but now they're 1-4.
And don't forget, Navy's undefeated.
Yes.
They haven't lost.
Again, a team that no one would have predicted to win
Yeah.
the West is still
Is in
undefeated.
first place.
In first place right now.
I told you they were going to be up there.
This is something we talked about.
Here's
yeah.
the thing that's scary about Navy.
Yeah.
And let's just, theoretically fast forward for a second.
All the way to Black
Friday.
Friday.
We don't make the most of our offensive possessions.
And you
Against a
don't get
team like
whole
Navy,
lot.
you have to because they control the time of possession like nobody will in the country.
Yeah.
And they, generally speaking, make the most of them unless you win the turnover battle or they turn the ball over a lot.
I will say
typically they
this. I feel much more confident in our defense this year. I really
With
do.
Oliver back in.
I really do.
Oh, I'm
Oliver's healthy.
fine with our
Yeah.
defense. For
So
the
that's
most part.
what I'm more confident in our defense this year than last year going into that game because of all these suspensions and everything riding on it.
Well, we don't
So-
know what's going to happen.
So, right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This year, I feel more confident.
Never know. We could bring,
as of right now.
we could bring back wiffle ball and have like 3 guys with
No, they're
injuries.
no fun Fridays as of right now.
They're going to run the ball like crazy. And we saw that second half, Temple had Oliver out of the game.
Mhm.
We allowed a lot of yards.
Yeah.
I agree.
So we got to
But-
worry about that.
I will say this: our corners are much better. I think with Isaiah Johnson, we are fine, and Alex Myers plus Garrett Davis and the combination of Wilder
Better
and
than
T.
last
Will.
year?
But what I'm saying overall, my question marks going into this year with cornerback are now kind of somewhat
Oh,
evaporated.
I feel a lot more comfortable.
That's what I'm
with
saying.
that. Okay.
So if knowing that, we can stack the box and work even harder and leave the guys on one-on-one coverage.
we did get beat. I think there's still some assignment issues.
No, I know.
Yep.
Okay.
As major favorite word, execution.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, we're less than 8 weeks. We're 7 weeks away from that. So
Yeah.
Tangent.
Tangent. So we'll move on to the next game. SMU completely pegging the Sad Huskies.
I wouldn't say that.
49-28.
Wouldn't say that.
The first half was a little slow.
UConn and SMU were tied in the third quarter.
yeah,
Third
they were. It was all SMU, all fourth quarter.
28-28.
Yep.
So
I didn't catch
there
that.
is a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel.
Maybe
for
that's
any
where
of
the
you fans that are worried about the game.
Ratings are, because I think at the moment we're like a 65% chance to win the game.
FPI.
Yeah. So
I don't really care about FPI.
that should be
but
interesting.
yeah, that's
Admittedly,
nice.
didn't catch that game. So
Mm.
next, let's go ahead and jump on to
We called it.
We called.
We
Fighting
called
Benterongs.
it.
We are
Hey.
Marshall beat the Benterongs
So you see,
38-21.
Do you see that name? Do you know who that is? The second name under that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, old boy Juracek.
That's
Yep.
his son.
Yeah,
his
He's
son.
a starting tight end, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't he tight end?
Yeah, he's tight end for Marshall.
Yeah, he's tight end.
I knew he was on the offensive side of the ball, but I didn't know he was a tight end.
Yeah, I thought he was
Yeah,
a tight end.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
apparently,
tight
he's like
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh,
I mean,
Luke Fickle.
we
His
hope-
first year is nothing
we hope
like
they were going to
Herman's.
win. A lot of people in the American boards were like, they were kind of worried. Like, if you lose to Marshall, you never stop hearing about it. Well, you didn't just lose; you lost by 17.
yeah, not good.
It'd be like us losing to UTSA, I think. I'd put the same
100%
thing because
agree.
they're
Yes,
Conference
I would
USA.
agree.
They
I would
look
agree.
as weaker and worse than us.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
So next,
Thankfully,
the
we didn't play
last
that
game, one of the ones that I think was the most unexpected from all of us.
Impressive.
Would you say it shocked the world
They shocked the world, guys.
or the AAC?
They shocked the AAC for sure.
UCF topples Memphis 40-13.
This
gonna be
game, it wasn't
old.
even close.
Yeah.
No, next week is going to be crazy.
To me,
UCF, USF.
Yeah.
that's the battle of the East right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The winner of that
hands
game
down.
wins the East.
No, hands
And
down.
I hate to say this, and I don't even want to say it because ESPN was throwing it out like a bunch of jackasses on game day, already talking about Scott Frost leaving, going to Nebraska, and having all these other jobs open for him.
That's right. I pointed
One,
that out.
like I hate that. Like that is classless for you to do.
It's awful.
During a program, and it's a fifth week of the season.
Yeah.
Like you should be ashamed of yourself, and that's what you stand for as a TV programming service. Without College Game Day, you're nothing to me anyway. So it's just despicable.
So you mean to tell me the
100% agree.
producer just accidentally decides to show a UCF of Scott Frost and him coaching up his team during practice in their practice facility, and then just somehow Nebraska's brought up next?
Yeah,
It's stupid.
Gee.
despicable, dude.
It's one of those things that we dealt
Agenda.
with all last year.
Agenda.
We did.
No, it's because they can guarantee that they have a freaking 30-second spot every single week that UCF plays. And it's something to get people to talk about ESPN and boost their ratings. It's pretty obvious ESPN has to take a big jump to talk about anything but strictly sports to get ratings right now. They're talking about everything but sports. And now they want to draw the eyes away from the actual game, what the team can do for the season. Let's focus on this season, then we can talk about it later. In my standpoint, if I'm a head coach, I say, if my agent talks to anybody, they're fired.
No, that's what you want your agent to do.
You want your agent to do that.
Yeah,
you've always got to be looking two steps ahead.
You have to.
Absolutely not.
Because we're talking millions on the line here.
Of course
Herman's agent talked, and then that's how we got more money from him.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you want him to talk so he sees what's out there and he gets you more money at the end of the day.
I don't know. Yeah. The more that the rumors
from a business standpoint, you would want your agent. I'm
telling you, college football is not. It's a business now. It's not about the pure athlete and the heart and the love. It's not about that.
Unless
it's awful. You're right. It is awful.
Unless you're really at your alma mater, then I mean,
and even so, like that's still not. That's not a guarantee.
Even then,
how do you then not dismantle your final season there? Does it matter?
I think Herman was going to Texas regardless of what we were going to do in 16.
Absolutely.
Probably.
I
absolutely.
At the end of the day,
tangent.
I mean, but
I just
for all of our purists, that was for you. That was for you, purists.
And I used to really dislike UCF. But Scott Frost is a pretty cool coach. He's like one of the coolest coaches now in the American Athletic Conference.
He was my second pick when we were looking for Herman.
Yeah.
So clearly he's doing all right there. My dark horse for the league, you can see who we pick for next week in the next episode. We will go ahead and jump on to.
Take it away, Jim. I have no idea what you just did, but all right. I like it. Let's go on.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll jump on
the Fab Five.
Yeah, Fab Five matchups.
I'm going to make this
covered
stick.
from this last week.
I just hate the Fab Five because it reminds me
I like the Fab Five.
Michigan.
I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it stick like Fetch.
I know. I want it like something
Fetch.
else.
Like Fetch.
It's not going to happen, Tim.
It's going to happen.
Fetch is not going to happen.
The Fab Five.
All right, go on.
Anyway, Washington State
literally
wins
shocked the world.
game over USC.
Don't think it was shocking.
We weren't shocked.
We said, watch out.
I was not shocked.
I was shocked.
I was not shocked.
I
wasn't.
Really
USC sucks.
No, I don't think they suck.
sucks.
I don't think USC is as good as what people thought.
That's
Texas
what I'm
looked
saying.
pedestrian against Iowa State.
Yes.
And they didn't even have Bichelle against USC at USC.
100% agree.
Now, here's the thing. Do I think Washington State's good? Yes, because they have the Pirate. And watching Washington State's offense operate just made me want to cry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They really
and
did.
by the way,
Oh yeah, I think we were texting about that. I was like,
Uni-Watch alert,
look at all
those
that
uniforms
creativeness.
were freaking nasty.
Now,
I
here's the
love
thing.
those.
I will tell you, I liked them, but I wasn't like,
They weren't like a
God,
crazy.
No,
I liked them a lot.
Here's the thing though. I don't see Washington State running the table. in the Pac-12.
no.
I know. And I only think I know Washington's top 5, but I don't think I think they're top 10. I don't think they're top 5.
What did they jump to?
Yeah.
I didn't see the rankings. Do you know what they jumped to?
We will double check and give that to you in the next episode.
I just was curious
we
if
will
y'all
do
saw that.
Yeah.
But a game was so late. We had to get up and drive to Uvalde the
I
next
made it-
morning.
I
And
made
I
it
stayed
to
up the
the first
entire
quarter.
game. I was like, you know what? This is a game. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I was like, I'm
yeah.
not going to sleep. I want to watch
But
it.
the Bears a champ because he stayed up late that night and then stayed up late again.
Truth.
This boy's a junkie.
Good.
Like this
College
boy's like
football
shit, boys.
junkie.
Dirty Needle. Go ahead.
College football is life.
I love watching effective offenses.
There you go. Keeps him up late at night. Next game we have Clemson.
Stop. Oh my God.
Huh?
Stop.
I didn't even
Continue
hear you.
on.
I didn't even hear you.
Continue on with the chlorophyll.
On we go. Number chlorophyll. Number 2.
All right,
Clemson against 13 Virginia
It
Tech.
wasn't even competitive.
No.
People were clearing out of Lane Stadium
Yeah.
Called it. Hey,
Yeah.
the atmosphere was lit.
in the
Yeah.
beginning,
But-
and then Clemson goes up 2 touchdowns.
Rowdy.
Clemson grabbed it like a candle.
And then threw some salt on it.
I will say this: that game day did look very nice at Virginia
Oh,
Tech.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very good.
That's-
I mean,
you always
it's
like to
nice.
see a good atmosphere because that
But
just gives me hope.
Virginia
that college
Tech's
football-
still going to be good.
I'll put it
Yeah.
this way. I said it for the last episode. I think Tim would agree with me. Virginia Tech in the last however many years is 1-30 against top 5
Yeah.
opponents.
Yeah.
And now they're
Wow, I did
1-31.
not know that.
They're just
That's what I'm saying.
They're,
Until they can beat a top 5 team again, then I'll have belief.
Sure.
they're like Georgia.
They're
they
top
get
30.
right
They're
there.
like the Aggies.
Yeah. No.
They get ranked in the top half every single year.
No,
every year.
they don't get as high as A&M.
Yeah.
They get a little bit of
Okay.
love. It's because they're like, man, that's a really good 9-3 team. Man, that's a really good 10-2 team. Like,
Yeah. I'm talking about the beginning of the year, though.
I know, but they're not like stupid high ranked because Frank Beamer towards the end of the year, like end of his tenure,
I kind of
wasn't
give
that
them
good.
some respect in some
I
ways.
think Fuente has him trending up, though. I think they're only
Yeah.
going to get better.
Yeah.
I agree. And the ACC is continuing to look real strong in the next couple of years.
It is.
Next, we're going to go ahead and go to our P6, or P5. Sorry, G5. I can't talk.
How many other ones?
Come on, what
There's-
do we got?
there's
G4
like a bunch of
Summit.
them.
What are we at?
G6, something like that. We're going to go ahead and talk about San Diego State, 34, Northern Illinois, 28.
This was close. This was
really
really,
close.
Back and
close.
It was close.
It was very close.
And I think this proves, Northern Illinois is not that good. They've been decent.
Well, I think they're good.
San Diego State isn't as good as everybody's cracked
and
up
I
to
think
be.
Nebraska's overrated as hell, even though they're
Yeah.
awful. I think they're
I mean,
overrated.
they're still bad.
It really looks like to me that I'd be shocked if San Diego State
It's
doesn't
gonna-
run the table.
Yeah.
It's gonna. What USF needs is now that UCF is ranked, they need us or Navy, someone to be ranked too, to give that one little data point over
Yep.
San Diego
Whoever
State.
wins that game, UCF or USF, both are going to be ranked. That's a win versus a top 25 opponent for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it's USF that wins, it probably will keep them ahead of San Diego State. And then whoever they play in the West, they want to be ranked for the conference title game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll give two. Because San Diego State's done here on out with any kind of ranked opponents. And
Yeah, 'cause
you know
Boise's
it's
not gonna
all
be ranked.
about what you do at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's November.
Pretty much.
What
I
you
mean,
do in November makes or breaks.
We're still not even having conversations yet about
No.
the College Football Playoff Committee.
Got to
Yep.
keep on playing.
Yep.
So next we've got one of those games that I think we all called.
Yep.
Auburn spanked. 13 ranked. Auburn spanks Mississippi State 24,
Right.
49-10.
Yeah,
I'm
Auburn.
all- I'm
yeah,
all-
I don't know where you're
I'm
at.
all across
Auburn,
the
number
board there.
13, Auburn beats Mississippi State
What you said.
49-10. Mississippi
You know-
State, bye bye. You were a pretender.
Yeah.
Hope you
and
enjoyed the
it
limelight.
just sets up the Iron Bowl.
It does, and Auburn is looking like that solid number 2 contender that
Yep.
everyone kind of thought they were going to be all along. Everyone kind of jumped on the Mississippi State train too soon because LSU did
with
lose to Troy this
Troy.
weekend. That's a game.
Troy, if you don't know where Troy
I'll tell you
is, it's
what.
in Alabama.
After they lost to Clemson, everyone was like, "See you later, Auburn. You don't exist."
They
But-
shouldn't.
Clemson's a damn good team.
Yeah,
That's
but then
what
you look
we
at this
do
score and
all
you're
along.
like, "Okay, just kidding. Auburn
Right.
is still damn good."
It doesn't mean that they still can't beat
I think,
Alabama.
but I also think that I would love to have seen Auburn and Clemson later in the year as opposed to earlier because
I
I
don't
think
know.
Auburn's just now really gelling.
I think it'll
be honest.
I think it'll end up being better for Auburn that they did play so early
Because it'll
They're
be-
gonna learn
it'll be
a whole
an
lot more.
afterthought.
Exactly. It's going to be like, okay, Clemson's been ranked number 2 all year long. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
They've gone and now they've beaten another ranked team. They keep on chumming through the SEC West schedule, and then they hit the Iron Bowl, and that's the big game,
Yep.
Well, that's going to decide who goes to the SEC championship.
of course. And that it's going to lend them. I think it's better for them to have the ability to play a really good team that early in the season to be able to go on
And then
play
ESPN's
Alabama.
like,
I agree.
Oh my God, Georgia,
God.
all over.
Anything to get the SEC network.
Yep.
I mean, but you
up and
mentioned it. Upset of the week, Troy beating
Yeah.
LSU. It was close
One of-
score wise, but
No. It got close in the fourth quarter.
sure.
Troy was leading the whole game.
Yeah, Troy was up. What was the final score?
But I mean,
28-24.
they won by
okay,
3
they were up
points.
28-7
Yeah, it wasn't close
with
until
8
the fourth
minutes
quarter.
left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And LSU
Right.
scored
One of
2 touchdowns.
one of my coworkers is an LSU grad, and so I see him walk by my office. I was like, Troy, and he goes, "Don't say another word."
Hey, didn't I,
Don't you say
Don't
another
talk
word.
to
didn't I mention off mic though? Troy was going to be kind of gnarly this year.
I don't give credence.
Don't give
to
yourself
Troy.
credit to
I,
calling
I give
Troy
more
being
credence
good.
to LSU being terrible.
Name
not
one
to, not
player
to
on Troy.
I don't know.
That's
I
name
don't
the
care.
head
I
coach?
can't either. So
I don't even know the coach.
Neil Brown.
yeah, no Brown.
Bill Connolly told me to say that. So
Oh my God.
next, we'll go ahead
my
and close this out with our last game of the
To the
Fab
shootout.
Five.
Jesus.
Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State.
Newsflash, Tech fans, if you're still watching, thank you for the view again.
Appreciate
your
you.
defense is still not that great.
41-34.
No,
And
you can't say that because they got a pick six to start the game. So the defense is back.
Okay.
folks.
Texas got a pick 6 to start the game against Maryland too. Let's
Yeah.
see what happened. to that.
Merlin Terrapins.
Yeah.
The Merlin.
So that's what happened there.
Yeah.
But your
I mean,
defense gave up 600 something total yards.
Yeah.
yeah. But this game being close leads a lot of questionables in with the Bedlam game at the end of the season.
You never know. Oklahoma State.
I think
I know Flair Boy is going to pump Oklahoma State.
No, I'm really not. What I'm trying to say is this was kind of Tech's Super Bowl for them. Sure. Think about it. They went 3-0. They went 3-0 undefeated. This is a Saturday. This is Parents' Weekend.
Super Bowl, though.
No, really for them it was like this was their chance to say we're back. We have turned the corner. We are not awful. That's what I'm saying.
They can still be good.
So they played with everything on the line.
I agree.
I still think they're going to beat Texas.
I will be more interested to see how they respond after this.
I think Tech could beat Texas.
Yeah,
but that's not
do
saying
too.
much. After watching them play Iowa State, that's not saying much.
They're not going to beat TCU. They're not going to beat Oklahoma, and they're not going to beat West Virginia.
I mean, ultimately,
they're not.
Yeah,
they're going to.
So that's 4 more losses. At least they're 8-4 and going.
They're probably going to be. They could surprise somebody,
right?
But I think for even Oklahoma State, I still believe that they could still either surprise TCU or Oklahoma. To be completely honest, you never know. I've seen a worse Oklahoma State team beat a Oklahoma team that was favored by probably more they're going to be this year.
Oh, for sure.
And at Okie State, so who knows? Yeah,
and I want to just address one thing before we close out this game. A lot of questions and fans were out there saying, who do we root for this game? Do we root for Tech? Do we root for Oklahoma State? And do we root for Tech to go out and win out? You have the philosophy. I know. Hear me out here. You have the philosophy that Texas Tech goes out, wins out. Say they win the Big 12 and our one loss, if we go in maybe 2 losses, that makes our loss even, less bad, if you will. I'm willing to argue, and you had mentioned this earlier, that we want Tech to just get shut out for the rest of the season. And hear me out on this, is because of the recruiting tangibility. They are going to. They have the chance to lose.
Oh, yeah, we discussed this.
They have the chance to lose more games than we have the chance.
But it's still at the end of the day, we still lost him. If they get blown out the rest of the way, it makes us look that worse because we don't obviously have Big 12 talent.
Does it though?
Yes. I believe that. I'm glad that they lost this game to put their fans back in their place a little bit.
Sure.
But I think at the end of the day, we want them to be competitive.
Okay.
Because from a recruiting standpoint, if they go out there and they're between us and Houston, like, damn, they beat Houston, but then they got destroyed in the Big 12. What does that say about Houston and the caliber of the American Athletic Conference?
Truthfully, you're both right. Honestly, you're both right.
You're sitting on 2 flip sides of the coin.
It doesn't matter. A kid, he's going to want to go to Lubbock or he's going to stay home in Houston.
Right.
At the end of the day.
I will say this. With recruiting, it's not so much about one game. I would say there are exceptions. Yes, there are guys that do say that one game, like, dude, there's no way I'm going there. But the general rule is that it's not based off of one game. Someone's going to go because your culture, your coaches, so on and so forth.
Relationships.
God, I feel like I'm Tom Luginball talking now. We're on the way home.
It's just like, it's just, you guys can all agree, it's just like business. People want to do business with people that they like and have a good relationship with. It's the same way with coaches. Yeah. It doesn't matter if your company is a Fortune 500 company or you're not quite there yet, kind of like us.
People buy from people.
To be honest.
People buy from people.
Okay, maybe Tech's like Fortune 250, we're Fortune 500.
Yeah.
There's not a big difference.
Sure.
Unless, whatever. Who do you like better? Who do you want to do business with?
Right. Yeah. Completely agree.
That's what it is.
Personally, I don't want to do business with anyone where there's tumbleweeds. So,
well, Tim and I have to.
On that
maybe
bombshell.
Not whiny boys, but
yeah, on that bombshell. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Do remember, follow us on all our social media. You know the usual: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Yep. We're posting much more on all those things. We are posting more on Twitter than we ever have. Facebook as well, Instagram. We're trying to get a little bit more creative. So go follow us on those. All the links are sorry.
It happens from time to time.
It does.
You got a lot of cooks in the kitchen, okay?
Yeah. So do remember, next episode tomorrow we will be launching our preview for this next week, and we'll be talking about what all we think about the SMU game, the American Athletic Conference in general, and more to come. So I think that's about it. Anything else? Final thoughts?
No, I think we're good. Glad
come to the stadium, bring a friend.
And,
yes,
we'll be ready for SMU.
Do so.
All right,
go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Meow meow. We're out.